Good evening, everyone. Uh, Thank you for joining. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Brian Heathcott. I'm the Director of Enrollment Marketing here at Memorial, and this is our third segment of these Zoom meetings for enrolled families for next year. And as we do with everything, I'd like to start us in prayer, and then we'll kind of get into details and what we're going to go over tonight. So I'm going to lead us for the prayer with Memorial. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. God our Father, Creator and Ruler of the universe, in every age you call men and women to develop and use their gifts for the good of others. With Saint Joseph as our example and patron, help us to do the work you have asked and come to the rewards you have promised. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God forever and ever. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Again, thank you all for joining. I know there's busy schedules out there, and that's why we do these Zoom meetings. That's why we do these Zoom meetings, because if you can join us live, great. If you're busy, we record these and send them out the next day, so you're always going to have this information. That's also a good reminder. Just as we're going through this tonight, if you miss something, you're also going to see this video at sometime in the morning and everything when we send it out for reference. So again, thank you so much for we're going to talk about tonight some school and athletic registration. We're going to, and I'll get into what that kind of means. I know you guys went through the enrollment process, right? And we go through enrollment and acceptance. Now we're gonna register, and that they're. I know it sounds similar, but they are different things, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to talk a little bit to get into some of the athletic sides of things too, with contacts and who to call and what to expect with athletics, because that's another beast in its own. And I have Mr. Dockery, Mr. Chad Dockery, with us tonight. He's our athletic director, and he's going to be joining me and filling in some information and some slides with us. So happy to have him with us here. Looking at let me go to my next slide here. Perfect. So again, tonight's topics is gonna include registering a student and an athlete. If your student's not an athlete, that's totally fine. We still have to do the registering of the student part. So we'll get to both sides of those things. We're also going to have just an athletic department overview, some athletic achievements and successes, importance of athletic involvement, some opportunities to get involved, what those look like, along with some critical contacts, dates, and information. So again, it's a great opportunity to some good information here tonight. As always with these Zoom meetings, we want to utilize that chat log. So, we want to give you that opportunity. This is a moderated chat format kind of Zoom meeting where, we want you to, if you have questions, use that chat log, ask some questions. We'd be happy to answer them. We probably won't wait till the end for questions. If I see a question, we'll probably stop what we're doing and answer it right then and there. That way it's fresh in our minds of what we're actually talking about. So definitely use that chat log. We'll answer those throughout the presentation, okay? So, as I said earlier on the call tonight, little athletic department overview. On the call tonight with us is Chad Dockery. This is his first year as athletic director with Memorial High School, and we're tickled pink to have him. I mean, he's done such a great job, and his family has been such a huge part of our Memorial history and everything. And we're just glad that Chad's back here with his family here in Evansville and serving as the role he is. He's doing a great job, and again, it's been a joy to work with him. So he's going to be with us tonight. But between Chad and Patty Van, she's our administrative assistants for athletics. Those are great contacts to have for anything athletics. Chad and Patty and myself, people like us, we're not on that typical teacher schedule where, once the last day of school hits, we're gone for the summer. We're around all summer and all year and everything. So if you have questions, please reach out anytime throughout the year and everything. Again, especially during the summer, we'll get back with you and answer some good questions there. Okay. I also like to highlight at the bottom too, we, between social media and whatnot and our website, the athletics does have a website. As you can see right there, it's reitsmemorialathletics.com. That's where you're going to be able to find some of the IHSA forms that we talk about tonight. That's one place to find them. That's where, again, you might see some contact information if you missed it tonight. Great resource to find. That's where you'll see our most up-to-date events and whatnot. I mean, schedules and things like that. So, again, between social media and some of those other outlets, that's also a great tool right there that we'll reference a few times tonight, okay? So just wanted to, like I said, give a little overview of our athletic department, some important people there. So looking ahead here, talking about registering a student for school and athletics. So if you're on this call, most likely you have applied for an application for admissions. You've applied for admissions for Reitz Memorial High School. In order to apply for admissions, you went through final forms. Final forms is what you've already done. You've already set up your parent account. You've already set that up and filled out that application for admissions. And that application for admissions, at that time, we're collecting information and data in order to make the decision to accept your student. So, right, we're looking for general student info, contact information. We're looking for, report cards, immunizations, just things like that. And again, in order to have all that data to compile that application for admissions. So through final forms is where we're also going to do registration. Now, registration going to be totally different. That's going to include things like emergency contact information. That's going to include, more details there. That's going to include your student parent handbook to review and sign off as parents and students and whatnot. So it's gonna again deal more with the registration side of things for athletics and the school to move forward from there. So it is important. I know Mr. Dockery will express this a few extra times throughout the evening, but it's very important for these registration forms to be completed in order to be signed and completed in order for athletic participation or anything over the summer. We want to make sure this stuff is done. That's for liability, obviously, reasons, and again, just having those emergency contacts. We cannot have things going on during the summer without this paperwork and this registration being completed. I know he's going to echo that a few times tonight, along with some other forms I know and physicals that need to be done. But we do want to reiterate that yeah, these registration forms need to be done and signed acknowledged for school enrollment purposes and for athletic purposes before any participation or before the first day of school for that matter. So they are very important. And again, I'll walk through that. So starting April 1st, let me go one more slide here. So starting April 1st, you're going to be able to log into that Final Forms account, the same Final Forms that you set up your student with the application for admissions. You're going to use that same student, that same parent registration, that same parent email and password you created. And what you're going to see is, again, after starting April 1st, you'll be able to log on and see that there are some incomplete forms to complete. Those are going to be your registration forms. Now, what that's going to include, there's a couple things to prepare leading up to that time. A couple items that you might want to have ready to go. Again, that's going to be basic medical history and health information that you'll want, doctor and dentist contact information, insurance, policy numbers, hospital preferences. Again, so good emergency contact things there. So you're definitely going to want to have that stuff ready prior to doing this. But again, April 1st, you'll be able to log back into that final forms that you did your application for admissions, and you'll be able to see those incomplete forms and start that process. What you're going to be doing at that point is registering your student. Again, the Final Forms already has you as a contact and as an account manager. Now you're going to register your student and create them an account and everything. So you'll go to that website again, that Reitz Memorial-in.finalforms.com. If you go to Reitz Memorial Athletics page or reitzmemorial.org, there's quick links to that Final Forms as well. So you'll have a lot of different ways to be able to get to that link there. You'll log in under the parent icon, and then you'll see again those incomplete forms. So that's where you want to start that process. There'll be a box at some point that'll show up. That'll say, does your student plan to participate in sports activities, clubs, things like that, and they'll have a checkbox full of those and everything. You'll want to check those, even if you're not sure if your student is going to maybe do baseball in the spring, or maybe if you're not sure that your student is going to do the fall play, whatever those checkbox is. It wouldn't hurt to do it, because we're not saying like, hey, we're checking it off and he's going to be doing that, he or she is going to be doing that. That's going to at least start you on that contact base and everything to say, hey, to that coach, these are the list of students that are at least interested, right? So it's not a full-on commitment, but I would check as many of those as you want. at least that at least is going to express that you're showing interest in that and everything. So again, and that'll put you on some good contact information list for those coaches to reach out at a later date. Okay, so you'll see that as you're going through those forms. Let me go to the next slide here while we're still on registering students here. So what's going to happen at some point, and this is very important. So a handful of these forms are going to require a a parent signature, but also a student signature. So again, right now you're registering your students. So at some point, it's going to have you create your student account. So what it's going to do, it's going to say, remind us who your student is. You're going to fill out that information, and it's going to have you fill in an email address for your student. Now, this is very important. When it asks for your student's email address, do not put their personal email address. You're going to want to put their school email address. Now, I know what you're asking right now. Where do I get that? What is that school email address? So, leading up to that April 1st date to where you can start this process, your students and your family will receive a letter in the mail with their email credentials. It's going to have their email address. It's going to have their password in order to set up their email. And it's going to have directions to set up their email. It's very important that we want their student emails to be in their Final Forms and their Final Forms account for their login and everything. So if you get to that point and you don't have your letter, take a time out, wait another day or two for the mail. But also if it hasn't showed up, just give us a call. But you want to use that. So again, I'll just reiterate that one more time. Leading up to April 1st, you'll receive a letter in the mail with your student email credentials and passwords for each of those students of your students. They'll want to use that email. They'll have information there to set up their email, along with information on how to go about finishing that registration process. Okay. So you will get that in the mail, and that'll be important then for your student to log into that Final Forms with their emails and then sign off on their forms. Again, they'll have to acknowledge that they read the student parent handbook. They'll have to acknowledge that their concussion protocol or whatnot forms that are for athletics. I mean, they'll have to go through each one that requires a student signature. So again, the student signature and parent signatures are both required for enrollment purposes and athletic participation purposes to knock out all the student registering for students at school, for the school part and the athletics there. So very important. The best part is, again, with all this, is that you already have a Final Forms account. You've already done the application for admissions. So that part's done. This part's just going to ask, again, for a lot of general information, health history. But the best part is, again, you can log in. You already have your account set up, and you just follow along the directions. And as always, myself, Mr. Dockery, we're all here to help you with that process, okay? I hope I'm not going too fast. But again, I promise that's what it is in a nutshell there. And along with more forms and whatnot, I'm about to pass it off to Mr. Dockery because he's going to start getting into physicals and pre-participation physical evaluation, where to find those and why those are important and whatnot. So, Mr. Dockery, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words. It's been great to be back. I've got a long history of Memorial High School, and to be able to come back and represent our school, to be in a position to be able to help our athletes, help our parents achieve at the high levels that Memorial's used to is fantastic, and I love it. It's great to walk in that building every day. Those of you who went to school there, you probably understand that feeling when you come back to visit. With athletics, this is important to me and important to our administrative team, which Brian's a part of, that your students get involved and, get outside of their comfort zone. Maybe they've never ran track before. Maybe they've never gone out for wrestling. Maybe they've never tried swimming. It is important that you're a multi-sport athlete when you come to Memorial. We'll talk here in a few minutes about the success we've had as a school. And a big part of that comes from multi-sport athletes. Kids need to be involved. It's really important. And at the same time, athletics at the high school level teaches them independence, teaches them to deal with adversity, and prepares them for challenges they're going to have as they get older. And so as we get started here talking about getting information turned in, using Final Forms, moving back here, getting my own son registered in school, it can seem somewhat overwhelming. But once you start working through the process, Brian's a great resource for you. Anybody at school that you can reach out to, and we can help you get it figured out. It's not that tough. It could just seem overwhelming because a lot of information. the pre-registration or the pre-participation physicals, they need to be dated after April 1st, 2024. And so that will get them through all of next school year. It's going to be important that before June 1, they have a new physical on file dated after April 1st. Those files, those physical files, they don't need to be turned into the athletic office. You don't need to run over to us to give them to us. They can be uploaded directly into Final Forms. And that way, everything's there. You don't have to worry about finding a physical for the next season or anything else. Once you upload that physical in Final Forms, it's there. You guys don't have to worry about it anymore. We'll take care of it. We'll make sure that the coaches know it's on file. Our coaches know to check in all the time. They've got the information. It also gives them an immediate resource if something were to happen at practice with your student. They're able to see exactly what's going on, who they need to contact, and so forth. So very important that after April 1st, 2024, and you get one done before June 1st so they can be participating full go this summer. I understand that, there's a cycle that people are on to get a new physical. Tri-State Orthopedics is offering $10 physicals on April 27th. We'll be pushing out more of that information. If you pay attention with with the schools that you attend now and us, we'll put it on social media. Your school should send it out. And I think Mr. Heathcott's going to put it in the newsletter for Memorial as well. But that's a good opportunity for you to get that physical for $10 and be able to get it turned in.
And the next slide just shows again what that looks like. We're not going to go into detail of these, but just kind of what they look like whenever they go up there.
Brian, we've got a question here in the chat.
Yeah.
Does band fall into athletics category?
No. So, what it's going to have on there, it's going to have that emergency form. So that they use that emergency form for athletics, absolutely for band, for anything extracurricular. So yeah, I mean, whenever it has that on there and everything, yeah, it's definitely something you want to fill out for the emergency contacts and whatnot.
And band doesn't fall directly under athletics as far as responsibilities for us, but Mr. Wallen and myself work hand in hand on almost a daily basis. If we go 2 or 3 days without a conversation, that's not normal. Usually we're always talking about games, their performances, everything else. So we do have a lot of back and forth with athletics and band. It's a great partnership collaboration that we've got.
Absolutely.
So here's the slide in reference to Saturday, April 27th from 8 to 1 p.m. Those of you, I know that Mr. Heathcott said he's going to send this out. This presentation is being recorded as well. Information there to go get your physical, $10. All of the stuff we're talking about as far as that physical needing to be done and turned in before they get started in anything this summer, great opportunity to get that taken care of for $10. And that money they're going to actually donate back to the schools for the athletes that show up.
Absolutely. And Chad, just to reiterate too, I mean, sure, they don't have to use this. With that said, we know that doctors' offices get backed up and sometimes it's last minute, and what a good opportunity to use this as an opportunity to definitely get in the door there and walk in.
Yeah, just a resource for you, not a mandatory activity at all.
Perfect. All right.
So looking at our athletic department, these are our facilities. We're very fortunate that the facilities we have are so well used. If you go over to the high school right now, I can guarantee you there's somebody on the field, on the track, in our gym. We do a great job of utilizing the spaces we have. Most of you are probably familiar with the Kent Center, our gymnasium, basketball, volleyball, wrestling, archery. It's kind of our multi-sport. Everybody gets a part of it. It's a pretty neat facility in the fact that it opened in 1969. We're starting to do some things to kind of get it caught up. Same floor, same bleachers, but we're starting to work on some projects to get up with the times in there. Bob Hargrave Field is our football track and field and lacrosse facility behind the school. Once again, very fortunate to have a high-level turf playing facility back there, a track to be able to practice on and get multi-use out of that basement. There's not a sport or PE class that doesn't use it. Trailer Stadium is directly across the street from school there on Benninghoff. We've got colleges that contact us about coming in and using the facility. Very, very fine facility. Wrestling room is located right through the double doors, just south of our gym. The auxiliary gym, same place. Weight room is right off our gym on the north end of the building there. Stone Field is located behind Holy Rosary, and our softball field also is located at the same place at Holy Rosary. They're kind of back to back to each other, but very, very fortunate that we've got those facilities. And I don't know that anybody other high school in the city use the facilities as effectively as we do, especially as deep into the seasons as we go.
We're pretty spread out, aren't we, Mr. Dockery? Yeah.
We are. We are. That takes us to our academic or athletic achievements and success. Talking about academics, we've got our National Honor Society going on at school tonight. We honored our archery team, which falls under athletics as a club. The same as our lacrosse and bowling are also clubs. Just because the IHSAA doesn't currently recognize them as a sport, we've been down this path before with soccer. We've been down this road before, being a Catholic school, that we weren't accepted at first. So the fact that their club doesn't take away the amount of practice they put into it, the games that they participate in, we treat it as a normal sport for us. We currently have 25 state championships. You can see the rundown there. For me, the athletic hallway, if you ever get a chance to truly take your time and walk through it, it tells a story. It tells a story about all the sacrifice, the fantastic coaches we've had, the same family names over and over that have come through our great building. It's always neat for me to be able to talk to somebody and say, well, that was my great grandfather that played on that team, or that was my dad that was on that team. That's pretty neat that we've done a good job throughout the years of keeping our history and setting it up so it tells a story. And this is the standard for us. It's not outside of the realm of possibility, no matter what the season is or what the sport is. And that's a tip of the hat to the parents. It starts with you guys at home in regards to how you prepare your young men and women to come in and handle themselves and understand what hard work is and dedication and loyalty to their teammates. And that's not missed by us at all. So a lot of exciting things going on in our athletic department. Had several semi-states this year, state appearance this year. So our kids fully expect to be able to compete deep into the tournament in any contest we enter.
Absolutely. Chad, before I go to the next slide, I did have a correct question to me. It said, will all doctor's offices have the correct form to use if we can't make that April 27th date?
That's a great question. So some of the doctor's offices have it. All of them can get it. It's on the IHSAA website, ihsaa.org website. You can go there. That has it shows you basically the tabs across. That pre-participation physical is one of them. You can print that off at home. But usually, if the doctor's offices in our local area know that you're coming in to get a physical, they know what form you need, being the IHSAA for the entire state of Indiana. And if you need a little bit of help with it, stop by the athletic office, and we can always give you a copy as well. Door 11 is what brings you to the athletic office.
Perfect. Thank you. And I, just as a plug too, I will once that form's available after April 1st, I will also upload that to our website. If you go to current families, I believe the current one's there right now. If you go to current families at reitsmemorial.org, you'll see that IHSA pre-participation packet. I will upload it there as well. Oh.
So I kind of talked about this at the beginning as far as getting involved, but I can't speak enough about our athletic programs that we have in Memorial and the coaches, the consistency of coaches, and what they do for young people. I know that for me, being in the role of director of athletics was a phenomenal opportunity for me to be able to take on, because I know the role that it's played in my life, my wife's life, my kids. So many lessons, and some of those biggest lessons are losses, or heartaches, or getting cut from an athletic team, and learning how to deal with those things the right way, and having a support group to do it. But we have, I think, Mr. Heathcott, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're right at a little over 80% of our athletes, or 80% of our student body participate in athletics, and it's around 60% that are multi-sport athletes. And the things that you're able to get out of that, the lifelong habits of physical fitness and wellness, school pride, being a mentor to the younger athletes that are coming by, learning leadership skills, time management. Tomorrow night, our athletes, we've got a scrimmage in softball, and our track and field teams are going to Jasper. how do our high level academic students, they're going to get on a bus tomorrow, they're going to go to Jasper, and they're probably going to come back around 9:30 tomorrow night. The expectation is they show up at school on time, they still get all their homework done, and they show up class ready to go. How do you juggle all of that? And you guys know from what you've been through as parents that life's tough sometimes. You've got to juggle a lot of different things, and that's a big learning tool and learning opportunity for our kids. They get to represent their school with pride. They get so much back from it. And I know that athletics is a very small part of their overall academic career and their academic experience when they come through Memorial. But I think a lot of people come through door 11 to come visit us in athletics, and it brings them back. And there's so many great joys and memories for them. And I think that provides for your young ones too. And I think it's really, really important that they get involved and get involved early. So you got 19 sports that we offer. Those club sports I talked about: archery, bowling, lacrosse. By the way, we honored our archery team today at school. They came in first in one of the divisions in the state. They ranked. They got a national ranking as well, and they'll participate in the national tournament in Louisville, where there'll be over 13,000 athletes there participating in that event. Our lacrosse teams have been going very strong. Boys baseball, golf, girls tennis got started this week. Track and softball started back a couple weeks ago. We also have cheerleading, Tigerettes, Tiger Dance, which is Tiger Pride, or Tigerettes is our dance. Tiger Pride is kind of our support group, and the Student Athletic or Athlete Advisory Council, which is a group of kind of our upper level classmen that work on with young athletes, issues we encounter, kind of a council that we as coaches talk to. Hey, what's the student body feel like about this? How do students view things? Really a great opportunity for students to get involved from a leadership perspective, and also to see kind of how schools work, athletics works. They also will get to go up to the IHSAA, which are state representation for council that we are belong to for our athletic programs. They get to go up there and get involved with many different things they do. But 19 different sports. There's got to be something that appeals to everybody, and it's important. We have a lot of kids that go out for swimming and diving that have never done it each year. Track and field is another one. Wrestling, golf. We had 27 kids try out for golf this week. So a lot of really, really good things going on right now with our athletic programs. I can't say enough either about if you have a young lady that wants to get involved with Tigerettes, the job that our Tigerettes coach does with them, fantastic job. Kind of a breakdown here as far as when sports take place. This is important. You look at the amount of sports we have from fall to winter to spring. Band is another event. The school play is another one that we have all of these different kids that are doing all of these different sports and activities, and the time management that they learn from this, as well as the different disciplinary expectations of coaches, and to be able to juggle different skill sets as they move from one to the next is really fantastic for our kids to learn from. This is a list of our coaches that we have, our head coaches throughout all of our programs. Once again, you can find this on our website. If you've got questions, the best way to get a hold of a lot of our teachers is just email them, because most of those are teachers within our building. Just email them. They'll get back with you very quickly. Let you kind of get your mind at ease. I know that making the transition for some of you from being in 8th grade to freshmen at high school, the expectation, what they need, all of that is a lot. It can be overwhelming a little bit. So definitely feel free to reach out to our head coaches, ask questions, give them time to respond to you, especially those that are in season. They'll get back with you within 24 hours, usually much sooner. But put your mind at ease. And at the same time, understand that, this is an opportunity for your child to become independent and to ask those questions. You don't need to so much hold their hand anymore or check in all the time. Let them be the person that relays the information to you. Let them be the person that grows. As far as our tryout schedule for fall sports, stuff like that starts to come out here after spring break from a lot of our head coaches. Most of them have summer workouts leading up to their season getting started. I know all of our fall sports they start essentially in June as far as workouts, learning the system, working out in the weight room, getting some skill work in. Those head coaches will start publishing that information. We'll push it out through Mr. Heathcott. We'll list it in social media as well. And then almost every one of our athletic teams has their own social media accounts and also Twitter. Twitter's a great way. If you don't have, or X, if you don't have that on your phone, that's a great way to follow us, live updates. At the same time, Event Link, when you get on Event Link, you'll get a lot of that information. Parents really like that because you can see the schedule. I know football just had a meeting, released it to most of their upperclassmen. They'll have another meeting here coming up. I know that after spring break, we have cheerleading, Tigerettes, a couple others that will start popping up, and that information will get pushed out to your school as well as listed on social media for us.
Chad, as I'm going to the next slide, kind of what we mentioned earlier, when they start that Final Forms school and athletic registration up front, they're going to ask, hey, what are you interested in? Check those off and everything, because that's going to be another way to receive some of that information. If you checked off baseball, I'm sure they could get a message through the coach through Final Forms saying, hey, looks like you're interested in baseball. We're doing some summer camps or workouts, right?
Yeah. Our coaches see it populates a roster for them whenever you check that they're interested. Even if you've got a son or daughter right now that's like, I don't know if I want to play this or not yet, go ahead and check the box. All right. Get the information, learn what's going on. Give your young one a time to be able to figure out exactly what they want to do. This transition into high school is tough for some kids. It's intimidating. There's a lot of unknowns, and give them time to kind of process it on their schedule to figure out what they want to do. And at the same time, have them talk to other kids that are already involved with the sports. Talk to the coaches. The coaches make themselves available through the Final Forms. They'll say, hey, we're going to have a meeting. We're going to have a weight training session. That's a great chance for your kid to go try it out.
And I threw up the last contacts there, some of the club teams and whatnot. I threw those up at the last minute here. Let's see.
So here's your first practice dates that they'll be able to participate. Usually you want to get involved with workouts leading up to that. A big one for vacations, I know, is Moratorium Week. Moratorium Week is where by the IHSAA and our athletic department also would have this. We would put something in play June 30th through July 6th. Nothing going on at the school. There should be no athletics going on, no practices of any kind that are tied to Memorial High School or any Memorial coaches. It's to give you guys a week to be able to do whatever you want. If it's just hang out, you want to go on vacation, it's up to you. But it's a week for the kids to just be kids during the summer and not worry about workouts, practices, or anything like that. Once again, those are dates for first practices, but like football, soccer, they're going in June and July. Volleyball, same thing. June and July, they're working out, getting open gym time, open field time. And all of that's posted through their social media pages. And also, as we get those final calendars from those coaches, as we get past spring break, we'll push those out as well. And you'll get them if you sign up in Final Forms. Those coaches will send you emails as well.
Perfect. Chad, before I get to the next slide, I did have a great question. I'm sure every sport's different. I'll even keep those sports on the screen in case, I don't know if you need to go through each one, but just as a general, are there freshman level teams or only JV and varsity?
Yeah, that's a great question. So baseball, we do not have a freshman team this year just because the numbers weren't there to have it. Some of these we could have them, but the numbers would be too close that it would be not fair to kids involved. But baseball usually has it. Basketball does have freshmen for boys. Girls this year, we were too low on numbers to have it. Cross country is typically JV varsity. You can run large numbers. Almost everybody gets to participate there, so that's not an issue. Football does have a freshman team. Golf does not. Soccer, once again, that is usually just JV and varsity, but once again, we'll look at the numbers from year to year. Swimming and diving is very similar to cross country. Tennis does not. Track and field is once again big like cross country, swimming and diving. Wrestling has opportunities for freshman matches. So that's a little bit different in how that's set up, but wrestling definitely does. Lacrosse is just JV and varsity. And then volleyball, we did have a freshman team this year, had good numbers in volleyball as well. So it just kind of depends on the sport, depends on the numbers that year. But usually, kind of the bigger team sports, we always have a freshman team for.
Great answer. Perfect.
Once again, we'll send stuff out in regards to tryouts, conditioning. That'll go out on announcements through our athletic website, social media. You guys are welcome to reach out to our coaches. You can call the athletic office and ask. If you've got questions after tonight as well, feel free to give me an email, shoot me an email, or give me a call. Social media, Twitter is a big one. You're going to get stuff really, really quick. And then Event Link. We push out information on Event Link as well as far as if games are canceled. Lots of different opportunities there.
Perfect. Thank you, Chad. As we talk about with these Zoom meetings, it's especially new families coming in. It's a lot of information. Thinking back to January when we had our first one, going over course registration, and then we had a financial aid one last month, and now this. We really are. We're trying to give you this stuff little at a time because it can be a lot. It can be a lot of information. So this is by design. We promise it is by design that we're doing this by steps. We're doing this to not overwhelm all of our new families and even returning families for that matter. So we want to make sure, like I said, you understand that, again, that these have been recorded and you feel free to go back to this. Main stuff is that the nitty gritty of all of it, whether you're going to do athletics or not, that student registration, that student and athletic registration, that's the biggest thing. Is that we got to get that done before any athletic participation, any camps this summer, anything your student wants to get involved in. That's going to register your student for that first day and before they step foot on to do some extracurricular things this summer. Again, having Chad around to kind of go through the program and to give them this kind of time and this kind of platform to do this, because it is our athletic programs. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of great information. We just want to make sure, like I said, you guys understand what's available out there and the best way to kind of tackle all of this and everything. So I'll give another minute for questions if anybody has any last minute questions. But again, I really appreciate it. While we're waiting in that last minute, I do want to put a little plug in for our final actually Zoom meeting. We'll do this one. I always call this like your homework and everything. This is called Next Steps, and this is going to be the homework for the summer. We're going to talk about this April 24th, 2024, and we're going to give you summer homework basically to say, hey, between that date and before the first day of school, here's how you order uniforms. Here's how we're going to do textbooks. Here's when the new student orientation is going to be. Here's how you're going to receive your schedules. Here's everything that needs to happen and everything before we kind of separate a little bit and everything leading in the summer, even though we won't separate. Like I said, Chad, myself, a lot of us are here throughout the summer, but we just know once May hits, you guys got your 8th grade graduations, you guys are busy and we're moving pretty quick. So we want to get to you before that time comes to, again, kind of go over those items right there before summer hits. So you have, like I said, what you need to have there. So Chad, I appreciate you being on here tonight, and everybody else, I really appreciate you taking the time. I don't see any questions, so to be respectful of all of your times, I really appreciate you being here, and y'all have a great night.